Have you been looking for a supportive space where you can talk lupus advocacy and business? Then I have the group for you. Join the Lupie Boss Academy on Facebook today. You'll gain access to valuable info on lupus advocacy and business strategies. Plus, you'll have networking opportunities with fellow lupus warrior bosses. So don't miss out. Find us on Facebook now and let's empower one another to reach to the next level. Hi, welcome to Lupus Speaks Podcast, where we shine a spotlight on lupus who are bossing it in business, inspiring others, and making a mark in the lupus community. I'm your host, Shadrika Holmes, on a mission to showcase the incredible journeys of lupus warriors turned entrepreneurs, influencers, and advocates. So get ready for empowering stories, insightful conversations, and a dose of inspiration. This is not just a podcast, it's a platform for you to dream again. So join me as we explore the possibilities beyond lupus and celebrate the resilience of lupus community. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Lupus Speaks podcast, and I'm your host Shadrika Shant'e. And today we have a very special guest, Miss Brieana Salter. And let's welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hello. I am good. How are you?
I'm doing well. So I'm so excited to talk to you today. I'm really curious to know a lot about the Lupie Girl Incorporated. Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So I saw you come across my social media and I was like, okay, that looks cool. Like I really want to know more about it. So could you take us back to the moment of your lupus diagnosis and then share how it impacted your life and inspired the creation of the Lupie Girl Incorporated?
Okay. And so if I refer back and ask if you could repeat the question, can my brain is like,
Look, I get it. It's the
it's not
brain fog.
spaghetti.
I get
So
it.
I was diagnosed. Well, it all started when I was a freshman in college. I actually was down in Miami at school, and I woke up one day, and my boyfriend at the time, pretty much said that he saw like this little rash on my face, and of course, I'm thinking it was him that caused, this rash because after a while, like as a week went by, like literally that rash spread all over my face, my eyelids, my arms, my elbows. But outside of that, I felt fine. I felt absolutely normal. So I ended up coming home and I have an aunt that's a nurse, and she just said to me, she got a patient that looks, that has rashes that look just like it. And so, of course, I'm asking, like, okay, so, what is it? And she was like, oh, it's called lupus. And so I'm like, lupus, never heard of it. I'm like, so can you die from it? And she's like, yes. And that was it. That was like the end of the conversation. And, I'm headed back down to Miami, just sobbing and like, oh my God, um, and so that then it wasn't until I came back, I went to a rheumatologist and I went to a dermatologist, and they both confirmed that I had lupus. And it wasn't until about a year or two later is when I started to experience those symptoms of lupus outside of the rash. So I started feeling really sick. I couldn't get up and go to class. I wasn't eating. And at that moment, I just kind of made the decision to go home. Even though I had like this little feeling that I was not going to come back to school, and it happened. I ended up having lupus nephritis, and lupus nephritis is inflammation of the kidney, where lupus is attacking the kidney. So I ended up leaving the school that I was at, and my parents decided that it was best that I stay home. So stayed home, and about 2 or 3 years after being diagnosed with lupus nephritis, I ended up in end stage renal failure, where I then was placed on dialysis, and then from there I've gotten kidney transplants, and I'm currently waiting on a kidney transplant now. And I do home hemo and all that good stuff. And so through that process, I did not want lupus to be the reason that I altered my life. I mean, I knew there were changes that I had to make because that's just what happens when you're living with a chronic illness. But I did not want, I have a very bubbly personality. So I didn't want my personality to change because I'm living, with this chronic illness. And so that's how I started the Lupie Girl. And so believe it or not, the Lupie Girl never started as a nonprofit. It never started as a place where I was like providing items and comfort and things to people living with lupus. It literally was just to talk about what lupus was. It was a
Hmm.
blog where I literally just shared my experiences as to what I was experiencing with lupus. However, over time, then of course, more and more people living with lupus saw it, came across it, and was just like, wow, like this is great. And then I found myself like encouraging other lupies to, live their best life and, do the very things that they wanted to do. Because despite the fact of living with lupus, I still went to school. I earned my bachelor's degree, my master's degree. I still, now I'm a college professor. I still worked. I still, did all the things that I felt like I wanted to do, and I wanted other people to feel the same ways. And so that's what encouraged me to change the Lupie Girl into a nonprofit to also get help from the community to be able to help people living with lupus. So that's pretty much sure.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
Miss
know.
Boss
It's a lot.
Lady.
I know.
No, that's good. That's amazing that you've been able to still achieve all of those things while living with lupus. I mean, I know a
Mhm.
lot of people that struggle so much, especially in the kidney space of
Mhm.
the dialysis and everything like that. So that's so inspiring too. Sure, for a lot of people who are struggling with
Mm.
that, that's important that they know that they can still go alongside this journey and still chase their dreams. So I don't know if
Mhm.
you mentioned, but I did want to know, what did you take school for? Did you got your master's and your bachelor's, and now you're a professor? So what did you do?
So my bachelor's degree is in health management. So it's pretty much a business degree with a health management concentration. And then I got my master's degree in health law with concentrations in regulatory compliance and risk management. Because I wanted to be a chief compliance officer for a health organization. That's like my dream. However, I did compliance for a little bit, and I can't say that I don't like it. I think maybe if it was another organization, but the organization I was in, I didn't really like it that well. And I learned a lot, and now I understand why a lot of compliance people usually are like nurses or doctors, because there's a lot of health information that you have to come across, especially if you're in the health sector, dealing with compliance. So, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna give you that title, boss lady. You doing
Yeah.
your thing.
I'm trying. I'm
Okay,
trying.
I see you.
I'm trying. I'm trying.
So, lupus is often described as a journey filled with ups and downs. What lessons has lupus taught you about strength, empathy, sympathy, compassion, forgiveness, and courage?
Wow. The first thing that like stood out when you asked the question is something that I have learned over and over and over again, and I keep being reminded of this over and over and over again, is that it's okay to not be okay. I think and I say this, as a black woman, we always have to wear like this superwoman cape thing. We're
Hmm.
always, having to kind of keep a strong face, that strong personality. We got this, that independent, strong black woman mentality. And I learned living with lupus, sometimes it's okay not to be the hero. It's sometimes okay not to just be okay. Sometimes it's okay to say, hey, I'm not okay and I need help. It's okay to say, hey, can you help me? Because sometimes we need help and we will not ask for help. And in my early stages of living with lupus, that was me. I would be in a hospital straight struggling. And it
Mm.
literally took for my close like cousins that I'm very, very close with, it took for them to kind of slap my hand and be like, Bree, I got you. It's okay. Like you can't walk. So you don't
Hmm.
have to try to walk, try to dress yourself, or let us help you bathe, or, are you hungry? Let me get you something, And so I think that has been something that I've learned. And also like with patience, I've also learned that being patient is key, because a lot of times people that are living with lupus are in the hospital and their bodies have to recover, and you gotta wait. Sometimes you got to take the meds that they're giving you, and you got to wait. And believe it or not, one day life may be rainy and cloudy, and things may not be looking the way that you hope for them to look. However, with patience, I believe that, the sun will come out. It will, things will get better. You will finally be able to get out of bed and, do the very things that you would like to do, but you have to be patient and you have to do the things that you are supposed to do in order to care for your body. So those are
Yeah.
like two of the big things that I've taken away, um, living with lupus.
Those are some good ones too, because you can, sometimes everything's going on, you're struggling, you just don't give yourself enough grace through the process.
Mhm,
So,
mhm,
yeah, absolutely.
absolutely.
So, as the founder of the Lupie Girl Incorporated, you built a platform of support and empowerment for the lupus community. So, how do you
Mhm.
incorporate these lessons into the programs, the things that you offer from your organization?
So with the Lupie Girl, we have a support group called the Survivor Circle. The Survivor Circle, right now it's under construction. We just got funding for it, which I'm so thankful, grateful, and excited for. However, with the Survivor Circle, the goal is to meet monthly and discuss different topics that benefit those that are living with lupus. And so of course, talking about financial literacy, and because people want to
Mm-hmm.
be able to fix their credit or buy a house or do those
Yeah.
things. There are
Mm-hmm.
loopies out here that want to be in love and fall in love. And so talking about
Mm-hmm.
that, talking about love pretty much, talking about mental health and, maintaining your mental health and what that looks like. And so having therapists be a part of those survivor circles to be a support system for them as well as a resource, actual professional resource that they can actually use, because Lupie Girl, I am not a therapist.
Right.
During those moments that we encourage, motivate and inspire, and that is our goal. And of course, with that, we also have a where it's not specifically just for lupus, but you can have any chronic illness, but you just have to have a chronic illness. However, it is a care kit program where it is a box, a Lupie Girl designed box that has different things inside of them that could bring comfort to a loopy, whether they're in the hospital or they're at home. So it has things like a heated blanket, it has Epsom salt, adult coloring book with the color pencils, an engraved bracelet, and it also has a custom design Loopy Girl card that has an encouraging message in it from me, the founder of the Loopy Girl. And so those are pretty much two of the main things that we do. Outside of that, we do have other events to get loopies out of the house, because we know a lot of loopies are
Mm-hmm.
tired, fatigued, and they're staying in the bed. And so, but loopies want to get outside. They want to do something.
Right.
So for
Outside.
instance, we just had our paint and sip. And so, they came, they painted. We had a large charcuterie table. We had wings, we had subs, we had an open bar for them to drink. We had a DJ if they want to get up and dance, have a good time, whatever it is that they wanted to do. It was there. And so we do that so that loopies understand that you can still live life. You don't have to stay home or stay in the house or stay cuddled up in the bed. No, get your friends and come outside. And we're just, creating events for loopies to be able to be in a space that they're comfortable in and have fun.
Yeah, I wish
Mm-hmm.
that I knew about this sooner, or we lived in the same areas, because I've been had years of just being in the bed, not having nowhere to go, or
Right,
people to
right.
hang out with because they don't understand, so you just rather not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I completely understand. So,
It
yep.
sounds like so much fun.
We also have a brunch every year. The brunch
Oh,
is more of a
that's the one
fundraiser.
that.
That was the okay. Yeah, so we have a brunch every year that we do for to fundraise, and not only to fundraise, but to also, it's a couple reasons. One is to fundraise, of course. Another reason is to bring lupus to the community so that people could know more about lupus, because believe it or not, a lot of people don't know. They know of lupus. When you ask the question, because I do it a lot, where you ask the question of just the general public, how many people know or heard of lupus? Most people are going to raise their hand. However, how many people actually know what lupus is? Most people
Mm,
are not going to raise their hand, because most people say, hey, I knew somebody that had lupus. They died from lupus. I know somebody, your sister got lupus. Of course, we all know somebody that's living with lupus, but we're not knowing and understanding how lupus is affecting those that are living with lupus in the community.
Right.
And so the brunch kind of brings all of that in perspective and pretty much educate the public and those who are in attendance as to what is going on with lupus. Also, we give out awards. So we have a Lupie Legacy Award, which is somebody in the community that is raising awareness for lupus. This person has to have lupus. And then we have a
Right.
Trailblazer Award, which is somebody that's in the community raising awareness for lupus, but they do not have to have lupus. So we do that as well. And also we do it in a way where we allow Lupies to come and share their stories as well. So we usually allow like a Lupie or two to kind of share what they've experienced living with lupus. And also for the Lupies in the room is to also allow them to see the people that are there in support of them. Because you will hear it a lot where a lot of Lupies do not feel as supported as maybe somebody with breast cancer. In the month of
Absolutely.
October, the entire nation turns pink, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
of course Groupies want to see in the month of May the nation turn purple, and
Right.
maybe in 20 years, maybe the nation will be completely purple. However, Lupie Girl is right now kind of, just making strides to help Lupies right now, in the moment right now. We know that lupus is not curable. And so we want them to see the good things. We want them to see the individuals that are advocating on their behalf, those that want to know more about lupus and understand lupus. And so that's the overall purpose of the branch.
That's so beautiful. I love it. That's amazing. I missed my ticket.
Thank
Look,
you. Thank you.
have to give me a ticket for the next one.
Yep, we do it every year. So what we missed, I think we missed because COVID.
Cold.
We did it
Mm-hmm.
2022, and then we didn't do 2023. So we're bringing it back now in 2024. Okay.
So, a lot about this podcast is I definitely like to talk about lupus and people's experiences with that, but more
Mm-hmm.
so highlighting their actual like entrepreneur and dreams and things that they do. So can you
Mm-hmm.
give us a little bit more information for those who are not familiar with obtaining a 501(c)(3) or just having a foundation or a corporation or anything like that that could help them move towards that if that was something they were open to?
Absolutely. So the one thing I want to say is there is no I in team. Okay. There is no I
Mm-hmm.
in team. If you want to create a nonprofit, please, please, please do not do it by yourself. Please. I'm
Okay.
begging you, okay? And I don't like to beg, but I'm begging you, do not do it by yourself because running an organization, especially around chronic illnesses and whatever it is that you're trying to do, it's a lot. And we can't do everything. That's why even the largest organizations, they have a CEO, they have a CFO, they have all these different people to do the job. So I definitely recommend that you get some of your closest day ones, people that you know that could definitely help your organization be a part of that. Because I will say the Loopy Girl didn't grow because of just me. It grew because of course the Loopies that I come across and came, have, built bonds with, but also the people that have literally came in and helped the Loopy Girl. Whether they was on the team, whether they just said, hey, I just want to help you. So for instance, literally somebody very, that I love very, very much. She wasn't a part of the Loopy Girl, but she was the one who helped me incorporate the Loopy. She knew the sites and the things that, I needed to do in order to um incorporate the Loopy Girl. And so, that's like my number one. Two, just make sure you do your research. Make sure, you go to the IRS website. Make sure you check, especially if you're trying to become a nonprofit. Make sure that you check in your state on whether or not you can solicit without having to have a licensure to solicit, which is to ask for money. Right. So just do your research. I do believe in God. So make sure that you pray on it because anything that God puts in your life, it won't be hard. It won't be a struggle. He will make room for you. He will make way for you to do whatever it is that you want to do. Um so I think those are the big ones. Those are definitely the big ones. A lot of people think that it costs a whole lot of money. to start a nonprofit. And it doesn't. You just got to make sure you pay for the forms and complete the forms, and boom. If they approve it, you have a nonprofit. You are incorporated. And so, don't get scared by, oh, I don't know if it's going to cost all this money to, like, literally, the Lupie Girl started as a podcast. And I literally
Oh,
created an event and said, hey, community, this is what I want to do. I'm trying to create, I want to become incorporated. We're going to call it the Lupie Girl, the Lupie Girl Inc. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. And can you help me? And literally, the Lupie Girl took off from that. Community really
oh
stood in the paint for the Lupie Girl and helped us and donated to us to allow us to become incorporated. And so, yeah, just
wow.
you got
And that's it
you
right
got.
there. That's the beauty of community. And having that
Mm-hmm.
village of people that surround you and support you and can relate to what you're trying to do because they know it's necessary and it's needed all around. So that's so
Mm-hmm.
glad that happened.
Absolutely.
It's a good
Mhm.
thing.
Very thankful. Very, very, very thankful.
So I have a question, going back to some of your medical experiences within this. So what kind of treatment are you on right now while you are doing this? So you say you were looking forward to a kidney or a transplant?
Yeah. So
Okay.
this will be, if I get another transplant, this will be my third kidney transplant. The first two that I've had, they did not, they failed. Um, what else I was getting ready to say? And so now I'm on dialysis. I do home hemo. A lot of people don't know what home hemo is. Home hemo is literally hemodialysis, but at home. And so yeah, I do everything myself. I say that I'm my own nurse. Of course, my family think that I am. They call me Dr. Bree a lot because I literally take care of myself. And it's very convenient. I do treatment four days a week. I'm on a machine 3 hours. Of course, in dialysis, you are on treatment based on your weight and height. And so I'm on, 3 hours at a time. I get on, I do my own labs, I send my own labs. Of course I
Oh
meet with my
wow.
nephrologist once a month. But outside of that, I pretty much take care of myself. I, go to my doctor's appointments and take my meds, and that's about it.
So what medications are you taking now?
Oh girl, I gotta pull out a list. Okay,
Oh
so
no,
from the
you
top of my
don't
head.
have to give us the whole list. But I mean, I guess for some people who are not familiar with some treatments when it comes to lupus nephritis and some of the other things that we do deal with as far as the symptoms, maybe some stuff they
Right,
may
right.
not are familiar with.
No, absolutely. So of course we all know Plaquenil, right? Lupus,
Mm-hmm.
that's a staple. So of course we take Plaquenil, for the inflammation. Prednisone. And it's so crazy because I've been taking prednisone for so long to the point where I cannot stop taking it because what happens is you have something called an adrenal gland, and the adrenal gland becomes addicted to prednisone. So if you stop taking prednisone, that's why they tell you not to take it cold turkey. So if you stop taking
Mm-hmm.
prednisone, you will become sick. So you'll start having symptoms like vomiting, nausea, headaches, body aches. And the only thing that will fix it is literally them pumping you with it.
Prednisone.
Don't ask me
Dang.
how to know, okay? Because I've done it a couple times. So trying to get off prednisone. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that is the issue with prednisone. I am on blood thinners. I am on blood thinners forever because a few years ago I kept having blood clots because of lupus, of course. And so I'm on blood thinners. On the blood thinners that I am on, I know a lot of people know about warfarin. Warfarin, you gotta get plucked every week, if I'm not mistaken, and all that other stuff. I'm on Eliquis. Eliquis, you just take
Mm-hmm.
it twice a
Yeah.
day, and boom, go about your business. I am on something called I'm thinking of the generic name, pantoprazole. That's for the stomach. So I take something to help with like stomach acid and upset stomach and all that other good stuff because of the medications that I take. When you are on dialysis, you have to take phosphate binders. Because of course when you're on dialysis, the phosphate can actually build up in your body from the things that you eat. And it's
Mm.
not taken away through dialysis, so I have to take phosphate binders. Trying to think, I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, also, and a lot of it is because of dialysis, not necessarily lupus. So like for instance, I take something called calcitriol, which helps with the thyroid glands that are here, and so that is another one that I take. And I'm also on pain medication. So, because of lupus, I deal with neuropathy issues, especially in my legs. So it gets so bad sometimes where I can't walk. I did see a pain management doctor, so I take Percocet. We all know what Percocet is. I take gabapentin, which is a nerve medication, and I also take Flexeril, which is a muscle relaxer. But sometimes I can't
Mhm.
take it because I can't I sleep all day and I don't, I'm a bubbly outgoing person, so I want to get up
Yeah,
and go
yeah.
about my day. Be all bed. That's pretty much, I feel like I'm missing something, but that's pretty much like the main medications that I take. And then of course when you're on dialysis, you have to take other medications like Methera, which helps with your hemoglobin, which is dealing with your red blood cells. Of course I take iron because a lot of times your iron can actually drop being on dialysis. So from time to time they will give me a shot of iron. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Okay. And it's
Yeah,
helping
sure.
and you
Well, come on,
feeling okay.
yeah, I feel good. I feel good. Of course, having lupus and being on dialysis or being on dialysis, you don't sleep. Sometimes you just up looking around. So of course I had those moments, but outside of that, and I have to say this just for the record, I have to thank God to my family because um because of my family really, when I first got diagnosed with lupus, they wanted to know everything. Like they was on Googling, okay?
Yeah.
And my dad, which I'm a daddy's girl, of course, my dad was the one that made the decision, like, hey, I want you to just like come, move home and just, get your health together. You need rest. And I actually have a stepmom who lives with lupus. So of course my daddy knew what he was talking about.
Oh,
But me, because I wanted to
okay.
be this independent, I'm strong, I can do this. I did not listen to my dad. And so I worked and I worked and I worked and I worked. And of course, my body just, start acting how I was acting. And I got really, really sick. And so I had finally made the decision that, hey, I'm not okay. And I need to let my family help me. And I need to just take that step back and really focus on my health. And so that's what I did. And I think it was one of the best decisions that I made. And me moving with my dad, because that's what I ended up doing, where I ended up leaving the county I was in. And I'm born and raised Palm Beach County, boom boom, shout out. But I ended up leaving that county to go with my dad. And since I've been with my dad, so many amazing things have happened. I've been able to, of course, get my mind right because my mental health was just jacked up. My physical health was jacked up. I ended up meeting the love of my life in this place where I am.
No.
And the Lupie girl has been doing her thing. And so many good things have happened, especially just with me allowing to take charge of my health, and do the things that, I do. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so important. It's so important that that's the number one thing you have to do is, take control of your health. Be responsible for the decisions that you make, the things that you do, you know,
Mm-hmm.
what environment you're in, all that stuff incorporates how you're gonna feel later on. So it's so important that people know
Absolutely.
that if
Mm-hmm.
you focus on yourself, all the other stuff kind of just happen right around you. And I
It just
love
fall
love, so
right
I
in
love
your hand.
love stories.
Me too. Love, love. Yes, my son, I love him. So yeah.
Oh, it's so cute. I love it. So, what year, because I don't know if you said what year you were diagnosed with lupus.
I was diagnosed October 25th. That was a Monday. October 25th, 2000. Yeah, I remember. Well, I'm glad that
Yeah.
at the end of the day got a diagnosis because I know I've heard so many stories of people experiencing this for so long until before
Hmm.
they get a diagnosis. So I'm happy that, you got a
Yeah.
diagnosis and know what it is.
Yeah. I think that is a unfortunate thing where people have to go through it so long without not knowing. And I mean, because I had went through maybe a year or two before. going through hives and things like that going on my skin, and they didn't know what to do. They just kept giving me stuff for itching. They didn't never really check my blood work to see if it was
Wow.
something deeper. So I feel like I had signs before, but we never really knew what it was or
Hmm.
nothing.
Hmm.
I guess they don't have that background to look deeper into things that seem a little off and
And
unexplained.
I
They
think that's
should.
so important to point out as well, because I think that's something that I talk about a lot too. The fact that a lot of health professionals still don't really understand lupus. Sometimes I try to put it in the perspective for people to understand. Medical students and nurses they learn about lupus in one class setting. So they're sitting in class, they
Yeah.
go through their books, and they're learning about lupus. When you go online and you look at lupus, I haven't checked in a while, but I remember when I was trying to figure out
Mm.
what does lupus rashes look like, there was nobody on Google that looked like me, where I could say, "Oh yeah, that looks like me," because most people that were on the internet were not people of color with these rashes. So of course, the rashes look
Yeah.
very red, they look very irritated, and it didn't match up. A lot of times you have people that are in the hospital trying to explain what is happening to them, and medical professionals are not believing, or they feel like the patient is over exaggerating what they're explaining, when in fact lupus is just such a confusing and I call it cryptic illness. And I feel like
Mhm.
medical staff have to take more of a stance of understanding lupus and understanding the signs, the symptoms, and the things that people living with lupus are experiencing, because it's happening. So,
Yeah. And I have to give a shout out to the ones that do recognize it and that do know,
yep.
because there are so
Mhm,
many
mhm.
people that again are never heard of lupus. Like for me, I never, that was my first time hearing it. So had he
Yep.
not, took those signs and looked at, let me do some blood work right in there, I would still be
Mhm.
undiagnosed because it was something I
Absolutely.
never heard of before.
Yep, and that's the importance of a good doctor.
Yeah. And they're hard to come by. So you might have your
Very,
journey
very.
of finding some and somebody didn't work and then having to switch to somebody else. And it sucks because our healthcare system is not as helpful in a lot of ways where you can't, some places don't accept this insurance. So we have to go through that struggle
Mhm.
sometimes too. So I have one last question.
Okay.
What advice do you have for individuals living with lupus who may be struggling to find strength and courage? And how could they cultivate resilience and embrace their journey with grace?
Oof, you got these deep questions. These
I'm so
deep
sorry.
questions. Oh no, I love it. I love it. So I'm gonna say what I always say. You
Yeah.
got this. Like
Uh-huh.
no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, no matter what and I'm talking about like your community, your family, the health, the doctors. It does not matter. Got this. The first step to getting to whatever it is that you're trying to go is believing that you can get there. And so just remembering that rest, accepting the fact
Mhm.
that if you're not okay, accepting that fact that you're not okay, and taking time for yourself is definitely some of the key factors that you need to do in order to take the step in the right direction to get to wherever it is that you're trying to go. Understanding that there are people out here rooting for you. There are people that you don't even know that are out here rooting for you, that see you and that hear you. Just because you're not getting 1,000 likes or comments or shares on social media behind your story or whatever it is that you're trying to do does not mean that people don't see you. Because the moment
Mhm.
that you stop, somebody gonna say, "Hey, I
Yeah.
haven't seen
Yeah.
so and so, do this in a while." Like, hey, or you may get a random message. I've gotten those plenty of times where people literally will message me and say, "Bree, I am just so proud of what you're doing. Keep going." Sometimes that is
Um.
the encouragement that you need. Sometimes
Mhm.
that's just the one piece of advice that will motivate you to get in where you got to go. And understand that everybody ain't rooting for you. There are going to be
Mhm.
some people that are not rooting for you. And there are some people who are literally just looking at the fact that, hey, You have a chronic illness. I don't think you should do that. Just a little
Yeah.
story. When I got diagnosed with lupus, my parents told me to stop going to school. Okay, I love y'all, mom and daddy. I just want to put it out there. This is not courage. Check it out. They told me to
Disclaimer.
stop. Right. They told me to stop going to school because they wanted me to focus on my health. They did not understand lupus. None of us did. And they were afraid. I think they were afraid, and they wanted, they didn't want me to die from overexerting myself and with this illness that we really didn't understand yet. However, me just wouldn't let me do that. I was like, no, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to school. I may not get to go back to the school that I was at, but I'm going to go to school and I'm going to do this. And I took the first step. I believed. I did the background work, which was go to class, do my schoolwork, and I got my degree. And believe it or not, because of that, I was able to now work as a professor. You have to have at least
Mm-hmm.
a master's degree to do that. So had I stopped going to school, I wouldn't have been able to teach, or a lot of the jobs that I've had, I wouldn't have been able to have those jobs because you have to have a degree. And so, of course, believing in yourself is definitely key. I want to make sure I answered your question in its entirety. So I feel like there was another part of that question.
I mean, I feel like you answered it pretty well.
Oh, okay. I was making sure. So I was
Because I'm
making
like
sure.
looking at the question, I'm like, oh, I think it was really thorough for me. I got what
Okay.
you were
Yeah,
saying.
yeah. You got this is my biggest piece of advice. You got this no matter what. No matter what. And another thing is stick to those who have the same goals as you, if not
Yes.
like higher goals. Because those people who don't have goals, they're not gonna believe in the goals that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And so please stick to those who understand your goal, who believe in your goal just like you do, and want to see you accomplish your goal. Though that too is very, very important.
And hard to find. I'm gonna
Hard to
tell you that
find,
right
yes.
now,
Very
because
hard to
I'm
find.
I'm like trying to have conversations with my families, and that's the thing is they do support me, but they don't know what I'm talking about. They don't know what I'm talking about when I'm talking about editing and cap cut, and they don't
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
have no idea what I'm saying. They understand what I'm trying to do, but they really
Mm-hmm.
don't get it. So finding the right people that can you can talk to about stuff like that, it's hard to
It's
find.
important. Yeah, it's important. It's important. So yeah.
So, how can everybody find you if they want to work with you or be a part of the Lupie Girl? What should they do?
So the Lupie Lupie girl girl.org. Also you can find us at the Lupie Girl on Instagram and on Facebook. And just send us a message. And then also you'll see like different events and different things that we have going on our website. So yeah, check us out. Check us out.
Okay, y'all. www. Correct?
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your
Of
time.
course.
I love it.
Absolutely.
This is a great conversation.
Yes, yes. We are on Facebook, Instagram. Please follow us. If you have any questions, I am not hard to find. So I'm not one of those leaders that you can't talk to or reach out
Mhm.
to. Please, you have questions, you have thoughts, you have comments, whatever it is, please feel free to reach out. So
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening to another episode of Lupus Speaks podcast. Now, peace and be intentional. Bye.
As we wrap up another episode of Lupus Speaks, I hope you are leaving with renewed inspiration and a belief that dreams are attainable despite lupus or any chronic illness. Let's keep the conversation going by connecting with us at Lupus Speaks on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Please remember you are not alone on this journey and that your dreams are not defined by lupus. They're powered by your strength and determination. So until next time, you guys, peace and be intentional.